Hey, third graders. This is a copy of Why Anansi Lives in the Ceiling. I couldn't get a hold of the whole story earlier today, so I wanted to read it to you now. In the great continent of Africa, there's a rainy season every year. It's called the monsoon season. When the monsoon season comes, it rains for days and days, and all the animals and people must stay inside. One year brought the rainiest monsoon season ever. Even the oldest woman in the village had never seen one that was rainier. It rained all day and it rained all night. It rained for a week, 2 weeks, and still another week. It rained so hard it was dark during the day. The animals could not go outside to find food. Elephant, who would chew the new branches of the trees, could not chew the branches. Tortoise, who would march slowly across the ground to catch insects, could not catch insects. Hare, who would eat the grass of the meadow, could not eat in the meadow. And the lazy spider Anansi, who did not plant his farm or set up his fish traps, did not have anything to eat at all. But the scariest thing that happened was the spotted leopard, who always hunts at night, was so hungry that he roamed the forest in search of food during the daytime. And then one morning, as the sun came up, the rain stopped. Anansi was so hungry that he quickly jumped out of his bed and went out to get something to eat. He left his banana leaf house and took the path that all the animals used to go drink at the river. Leopard was out too, and he was hungrily walking the river path. He padded along so quietly that Anansi didn't hear him, and he walked right up to Anansi. Now, normally, Leopard likes to eat zebras or gazelles or even a monkey. Spider would have been a tiny morsel to him. But today Spider looked like a very tasty snack to him, so he put on his friendly face and stopped to chat. "Good morning, Mr. Spider," purred Leopard. "How are you liking all this rain?" Now Anansi, the spider, is lazy, and Anansi, the spider, is tricky. But Anansi, the spider, is not stupid. Anansi knew that as a rule, leopards hardly ever purred at spiders. "I like it fine, Mr. Leopard, he lied. "But I am in a bit of a hurry." And with that, Anansi quickly jumped behind a rock where Leopard could not see him. Leopard's eyes turned green with anger, and he roared loudly, slashing the air with his claws. But after a few minutes, Leopard came up with a plan. "I know what I will do," he thought. "I will find Spider's house. I will make myself very tiny and hide behind his front door. When he comes back, I will gobble him up." Leopard turned around and went back up the river path until he saw Anansi's house. He squeezed through the banana leaves and curled up until he was as small as he could possibly be. Then he settled his nose between his big leopard paws and waited. Did I mention before that Anansi the spider is not stupid? He knew that Leopard would not give up so easily, so he spent the day thinking about what to do. First he climbed from behind the rock and went to the river, where he ate some fish that people had left in their traps. Then he went to a farm where the yams were ripe and ate his fill. Then Anansi decided to call on his friends. He visited Elephant, who was out chewing the new branches of the trees. He visited Tortoise, who was marching slowly across the ground to catch insects. He visited Hare, who was eating the grass of the meadows. He stayed far away from his own house until it began to get dark. As the sun began to sink behind the trees, Anansi knew he had to go home, so he walked slowly up the river path. As Anansi drew near his little banana leaf house, he perked up his ears to hear any sound that Leopard might be making. He looked at the path to see if Leopard had left any tracks. He heard nothing and saw nothing, but he knew that Leopard was quiet and good at hiding, so he thought of something else. He kept walking down the path, whistling as if he had nothing in his mind at all. Casually, he called, "Yo, banana leaf house, I am home." There was no answer. There was not a sound. So Anansi kept walking towards the house. There still was no sound. Even the birds were quiet. Then Anansi spoke loudly. "My, that's strange. Banana Leaf House, you always answer me when I greet you." This evening you are quiet." So Anansi shouted more loudly, "Yo! Banana leaf house! Is something wrong with my house?" And in a moment, a little squeaky voice came from inside the house. "Everything is fine, Spider. Walk right in." Anansi laughed so hard he nearly split his sides. "Oh, Mr. Leopard, how nice to know that you are there," he said, "but you will not catch me." With that, Anansi jumped through the window of his banana leaf house and into the highest, darkest corner of his ceiling. After many tries, Leopard gave up trying to catch him and stalked away with his tail lashing. Anansi was safe and warm and dry in the corner of the ceiling. So if you happen to meet a spider one day, chances are that his home is in a dark corner of the ceiling too. So if you have spiders at home, that's where they're hiding, away from the leopard up in the dark corner.